Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. Put the big and Robin world and the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn World.
Now it's time for Believe in the ACC with our starting lineup. From Florida State, number 17, Charlie Ward. From Morehead State University, number 50, Lloyd Stan. And from Murray State University, number 2, Kendrick Haskett. Get ready for the best sports show about the ACC in all the land. Believe in the ACC starts now. To be fair to my friend and brother Kendrick Haskett, I have no idea where I came up with that number 2. I'm just saying, I don't know why I picked it. We didn't have a discussion about it. Somehow he ended up as number 2. Now I hope he appreciates it. I hope he likes it. We'll find out. This is Believe in the ACC. My God. What did did you wear number 2 at all? How did I get number 2 in my head?
I don't know how you knew that, but that was my number.
So maybe it was in my head and we talked about it. I was like,
maybe,
where did I get number 2 from?
I was a huge Larry Johnson fan. You know, in college he wore number 2.
It's mind mail. It's mind mail. That's what it is. It's mind mail. All right. Well, this is Believe in the ACC, or as I like to call it today, Pressing the Pros Part 2. So, so if you've been watching Pressing the Pros, you know we have our own podcast that we do for the NBA. And normally we would do this with Charlie Ward for Believe in the ACC. But he's not here today.
He got a board meeting. He's got important things to do.
He's got important things to do, like making money, the shmoney.
Yeah.
So
changing the world.
Changing the world, getting shot clocks, all that.
Yes.
So we're gonna hold down the fort until he gets back. So there you go. So we're glad to be here with you. It's gonna be a fun show as always. The basketball season is interesting. This is an interesting week period for sports because this is kind of now when people will start to truly pay attention to college sports, and because there's nothing else to watch, and all of the excitement of basketball. Yeah. Right. Because all of the excitement of the pros is gone. All the sides of college football is gone, except for the draft. Obviously, that'll kick in here in about an hour and a half. But
right.
but now this is when people are really going to start to pay attention, and so it'll be interesting to see college basketball take its natural, and college women's basketball take their positions this weekend, and not necessarily in our conference, but there's some good games going on this weekend.
Big game tonight here in Kentucky. Texas at UK tonight. It's going to be a big one.
That's a huge one. That is a huge one. So it's going to be a fun weekend. And so we'll get into all that.
Florida State will be huge tonight.
U of L Florida State will be huge, and I definitely want to talk about that here in a second because that is, well, we're going to get into all that in a minute, but that's a massive one for a lot of reasons for both of those teams. because I had an interesting thought that I want to ask you about here in just a second. But before we get into any of those games, I have to start in a place that I did not expect to be starting in at all this season. If I'm being honest, my personal projection for the University of Louisville men's basketball team was respectability. They will get back to a level of respectability and competition. That's all you wanted. If you're listen, there are those lunatic fanaticals, and we forget sometimes that fan is short for fanatical. That thought we'd be here, but you know, the more balanced of among us was like, yeah, listen, you've had 3 to 4 seasons of mediocrity. If you can just get back to stabilization,
right?
That's
haven't been in the tournament since 2019.
Just say it. Let's shoot for stabilization. Right. Let's shoot for more than 4 wins. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
That's a solid goal, right? Who knew we'd be here? Right. And so I have a U of L expert here on the show with me. I might as well pick his brain. Kendrick, my first question to you this morning is, how the hell did we get here? How is this happening? Is Pat Kelsey this good?
He's this good, and he's brought in experienced players who come from winning programs. And I mean, I think most of the players have played in the tournament.
But not high D1 though, right? Not high level D1.
Well, Javon Hadley came from Colorado.
Okay,
he's the highest. He's the highest D1.
Right.
Well, no, Chucky Hepburn, because Chucky Hepburn was at Wisconsin.
That's true.
And he was the defensive player. I think he was the defensive player of the year at Wisconsin last season.
Which, by the way, is obvious why he was, because he's probably going to. It's a stronger than possibility he's going to be the defensive player of this conference.
Right. Yeah, and so those two are the highest D1s they brought in because Rain Smith and James Scott came with him from Charleston, and Terrence Edwards came from is escaping me right now, but it wasn't as high as Colorado and Wisconsin.
Right.
But they came from winning programs, and I think a lot of it too is like you got people that fit together, fit his system, and it wasn't just go out and get players. But there was like method to the back. And James Scott has been far and above what anybody expected. And I mean, he's out there. He's the tough. He's might be the toughest player I've seen just because he's got 2 front teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
And another tooth is so far up in his gums that they just had to break pieces off of it to get it out of it. He still has a facial fracture. And he's texting Kelsey from the dentist chair.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Tomorrow, and I'm playing on Tuesday or Wednesday. And he played last night, and it's one of my shout outs. I'll save it, but he wore a mask. And he looked like Hannibal Lecter or Bane or whatever you want to call it. And he goes out there. He gets an open layup on early in the game. He gets a dunk later. And he got a couple of dunks. And he had 6 points. And we didn't play as much as we usually would, of course, but he's out there playing.
Also, you didn't need to play as much. Right. That was
right.
When I watch them play, I'm gonna be honest with you. Of all the historical teams that I've watched with the University of Louisville, this is far and away the most stunned I am when I watch them play. Because I keep seeing these what seems to be parts. Like they look like individual parts when they walk onto the floor. Mm-hmm. But when they start the game, they are a disciplined, well-oiled machine that play on a string. And they trust each other. Here's what's ironic about this team. This is going to, and I know Kentucky fans are going to have a fit when they hear this. They are what Cal was trying to do the entire time he was there. They are that. Put a hodgepodge of players together, and they connect to the system, and they're able to understand and play together cohesively almost immediately. That's exactly what Cal was trying to do, every year at Kentucky, what he's trying to do now at Arkansas, and it ain't working.
The difference is, though, is like Cal just go out and just get the highest ranked players.
That's the difference.
They may not necessarily fit what he's trying to do, or because he would constantly recruit teams that are perfect to play zone, and he hated playing zone defense. But
right.
like the whole purpose of, you got all this length. That's why Syracuse was successful, because they recruited length to play that zone, and he would do that all the time. Would never play zone. Meanwhile, this guy's getting beat off the dribble all the time, and so. But it's part of that. It's part. I mean, honestly, the ACC is down. That's helped. But,
it has helped, 100%.
It's helped, but like some stuff though, in like last night's game, last play of the first half, I was watching and I had run to go get something to eat, so I was listening to it on the radio, and Bob Valvano and Paul Rogers both said, hopefully they can get the ball to Rain Smith. That's who they love going to on the inbounds play. They love to be able to get him on a three. Sure enough, ball inbounds. Rain Smith is wide. There's the closest person to him is closer to me in this house right now. Wide open.
Yeah,
which that's play design, but that's incompetence on the other side. I'm sorry. And Rain Smith should never be that wide open at any point. But they do that, and then take the Miami game on Saturday. Chucky Hepburn doesn't play because of a hamstring. Terrence Edwards, he said it's the first time he's played that much point guard since 6th grade AAU. And he goes out there and gets 27 points and 10 assists.
He still got it. It's
even though sometimes,
apparently.
Even though sometimes I was like, Terrence, you dribbling the ball too much, bro. He just be dribbling around in circles like, where you going? but they just, and like they've had injury after injury after injury, and they have not slowed down. It's been impressive to watch.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the last game was their most impressive of the year, because no one would have flinched or said a word had they somehow fell short in that game, because Chucky Hepburn is out. That's their guy. That's the go-to all season long. He is the gasoline in the car, right? They didn't miss a beat. They didn't miss a beat. It didn't look any different. They didn't play. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I have to go back and look at the box score, but I'm pretty sure Rain Smith didn't have a great game in that game.
Yeah, against Miami, he did.
Yeah,
he hit 6 3-pointers.
Was that the game? What was the game? The last game he had a good game.
Yeah, the last 2 games he had.
Okay,
the game before that,
he didn't have it. Yeah,
he didn't have that great. Yeah, but
I'm saying,
the last 2 games he's been on fire.
Listen, this is. Now, let me say this also, because you mentioned about, NC State. There's a level of incompetence and downness with NC State right now, without question. But also, that's also the reason why I say this is impressive, because Louisville is beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, and they're beating them like you're supposed to beat a bad team.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then the teams that should be competitive with, they're beating them like they're supposed. This is a really good and dangerous team.
I think they're definitely the second best team in the conference. And I don't know, they get another crack at Duke on a neutral court, even though it's not going to be really neutral in Charlotte. But still, I like that. I like their chances. I'm not going to necessarily pick it, but I like their chances in that game, because they gave Duke all they wanted when they played, and that was early in the season. Because they played, I think they opened the open conference play with Duke, so that was in December, because they've restructured the conference. They played the games earlier in the season, and so they have grown so much since then, and so has Duke, and Duke has improved, of course. But where Louisville is right now, like you said, they're blowing these teams out. I mean, I haven't looked at it, but I guarantee you their margin of victory is larger than what Duke's is.
Oh, I gotta listen.
They won last night by what, 20, almost 30 points last night. And
all
they went
12
to
and
SMU
2s
and
are
won by
not
almost
created
30.
equal. It's impressive.
Another thing that was impressive. I'm sorry, real quick.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Yeah.
Another thing that was impressive about last night is you could see a lesson learned, because some of the things that happened in that Georgia Tech game where they did lose was kind of starting to happen at the end of that first half, because
Yeah.
they got out to a big lead. They kind of started screwing around with the ball. Georgia Tech got really physical with them, and NC State was getting really physical with them. But they regrouped because they were up by like 20 most of the first half, and NC State got it all the way down to 9, and then they got a quick 5-0 run in the half, including that Rain Smith 3-pointer I was talking about. They
Right.
were up by
Right.
14, and they was off and running from that point on. And so, unlike the Georgia Tech game where they kind of let their foot off the gas, they did not do that last night, and that's showing you that they're learning. They learn from their mistakes, and they're growing as the season goes on.
Well, speaking of learning and growing, this schedule sets up very nicely toward the end here. They got Notre Dame, Florida State, Virginia Tech. The Pitt game will be challenging. The Cal game maybe, and then there's a Stanford. It's not unreasonable to think that they could win out.
They'll be favored.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what got them too in that Georgia Tech game because that Saturday morning on game day, Jay Williams said they were going to win out back then.
Yeah.
And then they immediately lost.
Well, but that's a good. Don't listen to the press clippings lesson.
Yeah.
And I think they have since that game. I think they've kind of locked back in. They're on a 3-game winning streak.
3 games, and I think all 3 of those are by double digits. If I'm right.
Yeah, all by double digits. I just feel as though the top 3 teams in the ACC are extremely interesting going into the second season, I like to call it, the tournament world. Now, I want to talk about Duke for just a second because, they are on everybody's board as far as a team that can win the national championship. And I don't know if I completely disagree with that, except for this one very, very significant reason.
We've been here before with Duke.
Number one, we've been here before, right? Mm-hmm. But number 2, when you watch them play, they are wildly Cooper Flag dependent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you, historically, I have never liked picking a team that was one player dominant because it does not usually work out that way. I can't even remember the last time a one player dominant team. Right. I think you would have to go back that far.
Yeah.
Because it does not normally work out that way in college basketball. Kevin Durant never won. Shaq never won.
Mm-hmm.
The only one, well, you know what? You could maybe say Carmelo Anthony, maybe.
Yeah, Carmelo. Yeah, but he still had Hakeem Warwick.
He had a lot of help. Yeah. So I just don't know if you can win when you're one player dominant like they are, because that's easy to game plan for.
Right.
Especially if you're a good team, that's easy to game.
Especially he gets worn down. But they're big. Duke's big is huge for them. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for what he does.
Right.
But he is huge for him. I'm trying to say his name right. Maluwak. You look at his stats and they don't jump out at you. He's averaging just about 8.6 rebounds a game. But what he does is he takes pressure off Flag under the basket, and that allows Cooper Flag to kind of roam around the perimeter. He can get to the basket, he can score inside, but he doesn't have to do everything from inside. And Maluwak, because when they lost to Kentucky, it was for 2 reasons. Maluwak got hurt, and Cooper Flag got worn down because it was the first game of the season.
Right.
And so Maluwak is huge for them. Proctor is really good. Knippel's really good, but I think Maluwak is like a quiet glue to that team.
He's the thing holding it together. Because just even like in the Cal game, you look at his stats, like you said, 22 minutes, not a lot of minutes. They blew Cal out, so it helped.
Right.
That's probably a big reason why. But the stat that jumps out is not his 10 points. It's his 12 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a guy can rebound at the clip that Maluwak is rebounding, and especially on the offensive side, and changing shots at the same time, that's the difference maker for what they do on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. Now, the question is, though, when you need those points, because you're going to need those points at some point during a tournament run, whether it be the ACC. Now, I fully expect in the ACC tournament for it to come down between Louisville and Duke, or Louisville or Clemson.
It's gonna be a mix of those three at the end.
Yeah, I think
Because
one
they're
of those
far and
three
away
is gonna,
better. Even though,
yeah.
even I will say one of those three is probably going to get upset.
Well, and here's the thing and if we're being honest, it's probably based on performance only. It's probably Clemson. They're the most inconsistent of the three.
Right.
Now, what's really interesting though, in a new matchup that potentially could be Duke and Louisville, can Louisville keep Maluak off the boards this time? And because when they played the first time, Louisville didn't have. That was one of the first games they had played without Pryor, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
They were just kind of figuring that whole dynamic out.
I can tell you exactly because I'm actually into U of L's page. So
okay.
Yeah, they lost Pryor in the Oklahoma game, and so then their next game was when they got blown out by Ole Miss, and then the next game was the Duke game. So yeah,
I was gonna say it was very early on. Yeah.
It was the second game after Pryor, and so I was looking at the box score for that game.
So they were trying to figure. And by the way, if you remember that game, they were winning that game.
They were up. Maluak did nothing in that game, but
yeah,
Cooper Flagg had 20 and 12, and then I hate ESPN's website. But what killed was like Proctor was big in that game. He had 13 points, and Knipple had 12 points. Louisville, Terrence Edwards was still coming off the bench. They only played 7 players in that game.
Right, because they had honestly, I think I can safely say this. Pat Kelsey, it didn't feel like he had figured out what this new rotation was going to be.
Right, no, he was still
teetering. He was way off on he was much teetering. And even go ahead.
Because like I say, he didn't start Edwards that game because he had Edwards coming off the bench for a couple of games, and Edwards still had 21 points coming off the bench. But Chucky Hepburn didn't do much. He had 8 points and 5 assists and 4 turnovers. And so they were still kind of scuffling around and, finding their way. After that, this is the Louisville's point differentials in ACC games after that. That was the first game. They beat Florida State by 14. It was, of course, worse than that. They beat Carolina by 13. They beat Virginia by 20. They beat Clemson by 10. At Pitt was close. They won by 4. At Syracuse, they win by 24. Virginia by 14. At SMU by 25. Wake Forest by 13. They dropped the Georgia Tech game. They beat Boston College by 26. They beat Miami by 10, and then they went last night by 25.
And by the way, if you watch them play, those games are not as close as the final scores indicate ever.
And a lot of these games are on the road. Like at NC State was at NC State, at Boston College, at SMU. SMU's fourth in the conference, and they beat them by 25 on their floor, put 98 on the board.
Location does not seem to be a problem.
The
for this
ACC
team.
is down.
Yes.
Yeah, the ACC. Yes, the ACC is down. There's no question about that. But when your point differentials are like that, I don't care how down the conference is.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's impressive.
That's a good team. So I'll be honest with you. I'm looking forward to seeing them tee it up one more time. I think Louisville probably would never say this out loud. Pat Kelsey would never say this out loud. But I think he is chomping at the bit to get another crack at Duke. Because I think I think he may have a formula. And by the way, one thing that we have not even touched on, they were not shooting threes that way in that game. Like that's
early in the season, most of the season, because that was the running joke. Is like there was a running joke. They shoot a lot of threes, but they don't make them. But now they're making them.
Now they are making them.
Duke is beating everybody to death, just like Louisville is. So their
point
but again, probably is about the same.
But again, it's a very top heavy situation, and you just wonder a team that plays great team defense as Louisville does. Because once you yank that 19.8 points away from Cooper Flagg and this team, first of all you got to do is look at the team leaders and you'll see what this is an easy thing to figure out. Cooper Flagg, points per game, he leads the team 19.8. Assists, Cooper Flagg leads the team at 4. Field goal percentage, Cooper Flagg leads the team at 48.3. So it's not hard to figure out what you have to do to win this game.
It's easy to say that, but obviously it's not easy to accomplish.
Because most teams don't.
There's a reason why he's the number 1 pick in the draft before he even played one game of
Most
college
teams do not have the personnel to go out and slow this guy down. But that's what makes this an interesting situation.
And I don't think Louisville necessarily does either. But they've got the pieces to make life difficult for the other 4 on the floor. And like now that they've got their rotations pretty much set, they know where they are. They're used to the, if as long as they stay healthy, and which is a big if with this team this year, if they go in there with the roster they had on the floor last night, by the time they would hypothetically see Duke or Clemson again, James Scott's face should be okay. Chucky Hepburn's groin should be okay. They reviewed on the broadcast last night that he said that he's pulled his groin every year in college. This is the first time he's actually missed a game for it, and he's like, this one wasn't as bad as the last one. So he's back and he's healthy. And Javon Hadley is such a steady, calming force on the floor. Yeah. And it's funny because like he's calm. You don't see his face thing, but every time there's a skirmish on the court, Javon Hadley's always in the middle of it. But he doesn't say anything. He's a super nice kid. I mean, all of them are great kids. We've never talked to James Scott. And like Greg Kelsey made the joke the other night that James Scott would rather have a root canal than talk to you guys talking about the media. And he's like, and literally he's basically having a root canal.
Asking you shall receive.
But they are a fun team to cover.
They are a fun team to cover, fun team to watch, and I like I said, I would argue they are a very, 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 very dangerous team. So it's going to be fun to see what happens with both these teams as we go forward.
He's hands down the coach of the year, right, in the ACC.
I gotta believe so.
He's got to,
because you can't give it to John Shire. Because it's
he's
one
got
guy,
the number 1 player in the country.
Right. It's of course you're right. But nobody, and especially since nobody picked Louisville. I think Louisville was
picked at the bottom of the conference, wasn't they?
Right, I think 11th,
middle of the
12th,
pack,
or something like
middle
that.
of the pack at best. Yeah.
Right. So I think Pat's far and away coach of the year.
I think national coach of the year. He's in that mix with Dusty May, with Mark Pope.
100%. 100%.
Izzo, I think Izzo should be up there too, though. I think
Izzo's done a great job considering.
They're coming back to earth, though. I mean, yeah, in Indiana the other night.
Yeah,
at home.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I would say both Kentucky coaches are got to be in that top 5 mix.
And I'll tell you what, people who don't live here, and Lloyd, you'll appreciate this. They've made such an impression on the opposite fan bases that, like, I see Kentucky fans posting positive stuff about Kelsey almost as much as I see Louisville fans, and vice versa, because these guys have such likable personalities. Their seasons are so similar. Because now Kentucky's going through the injury bug with Lamont Butler. He was out. He re-injured his shoulder in that Tennessee game. They were out Jackson Robinson in that Tennessee game. They've got 2 kids from the state of Kentucky that have stepped up big time for them. And Trent Noah, his nickname is now the Mountain Mamba, which is hilarious. And there's a baller from the holler. But they've had their injury bugs. Now, Kentucky drives you crazy because they beat ranked teams and they'll mess around and lose to somebody that's not they play down, and they've got a big man in the middle who can drive you absolutely up the wall in Amari Williams, because for one, he's a big man who brings the ball up the court and is good at it. But once he has to make a decision, look out.
Once he has to make a decision, look out is hilarious.
When he gets it up the court and gets across the court, it looks great. And then sometimes he had a drive in the first half against Tennessee where he drove the lane, kicked it out to a corner three. It was beautiful. And sometimes he might just come down and just dribble the ball off his foot. And then don't throw it to him in the post because anything could happen.
Yeah,
Even though he hit a couple of hook shots the other night. It was impressive.
Listen, this is going to be a fun March on the men's side. But if we're being honest, and we always are on this show, once again, the must-see will be on the women's side.
Not as much this year, I don't think.
No,
Not
I
as
think
much
so.
as it was. Not as much as it was.
Well, it won't be fever pitch because there's no Caitlin Clark. There is no Caitlin Clark. And if we're also being honest, our media brethren are not covering the women's sport this year like they should, even though I think talent-wise, across the spectrum, there is more talent this year than it was last year.
I think it's twofold. You don't have a Caitlin Clark this year.
Well, you do, but she's not getting the coverage that
because she plays on the West Coast.
Right.
But they're losing. They're not winning every game. There's not a dominant team because South Carolina's dropped a couple of games.
Right.
You and I have been talking about on the show all season that Notre Dame is the dark horse in the country and nobody's talking about them. And I think they're up to number 2 now. And
something like that. Yeah.
But and they do have a player that should be getting all the attention in Hidalgo, but she doesn't get that much attention. And so you're right. They're not being covered like they were because Caitlin's gone. But the talent is more spread out this year. But there's not the dominant team because you had Caitlin Clark, but you had a dominant South Carolina team that was undefeated, and so that lends into it too. That's part of it.
I'll say this to your point you just made, which I think is phenomenal. I could make a solid case, more than solid case, that top to bottom, and I mean complete package, that's not even that close that Hannah Hidalgo is a better player than Caitlin Clark was. Her defense more than matches everything she does offensively, and she's virtually unstoppable offensively. But her defense, her on-ball defense, oh my God.
Yeah, she doesn't see the floor as well as Caitlin did, and she doesn't have the range that Caitlin did. Definitely doesn't. Nobody has had the range.
Nobody has the range. That's the whole other conversation. That's why I said, but now to see the floor,
and a lot of that is size because Caitlin's taller than
right.
I wouldn't say that she's hands down. I really and truly, as weird as it sounds to you, because they play the same position, they play two different ball games.
They are two different players for sure.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is going to come down. She's going to dissect your defense and make crazy passes. She's going to make deep shots. Hidalgo is attacking. She is coming at everything you have, everything you own. She's going to snatch it all. and it's relentless. She's a relentless fighter.
And she's going to do that for 40 minutes.
Yes, she doesn't get
all 40
tired.
minutes. She doesn't get tired. She's not going to ease up because they're up by 20. No. She's coming for you for 40 minutes. Get ready. Yes. So I love watching her play. I think they may be far and away the most talented team, but UCLA obviously would have something to say about that. Lauren Betts is having a season that's incredible. And oh, by the way, she's coming back. Have you heard that? Did you see that?
I didn't.
She's already announced that she's coming back. Now, let's be fair. She's coming back for a senior season because her 6'4" sister, is going to be playing with her. So I think the opportunity to play.
Coming back because her and her sister got a bag.
Well. And also,
she's coming back to help her sister get a bigger bag because it's probably got more money since there's two of them. Even though the bag doesn't go as far in L.A.
Her quote was her quote was, "I'm having the time of my life. Why would I leave this right now?" Translation. I'm making so much money and about to make so much money
and live in L.A.
Why would I give this up to go? Going to the WNBA is a step down.
Right? Why would I do this and go play for the Chicago Sky?
That's a step. With all due respect to the WNBA, which I love, and I think that's been noted well. Why would she? She's going to make $1 million plus at UCLA.
Right.
She's living the dream.
Right.
She's living the dream.
And she's probably the biggest star on campus because nobody else is doing anything on campus. I mean, she's living the life. She's probably getting invited to Hollywood parties and everything.
She is running it. She is running LA right now.
Yeah,
so
she's the second biggest name behind Luka.
God bless you, Lauren Betts. I ain't even mad at you.
I ain't mad at you at all. I'm jealous.
I get it. I get it. So they're having a phenomenal season, man. I do think I do question whether or not they truly are the best team.
When did they play USC?
When did they play USC?
Mm-hmm.
That is a great question.
Have they met yet?
I would say I
would think they've had to have played at least once by now.
I don't know. I gotta believe
so
they
weird
haven't.
To go look them up in the Big Ten.
I know it's no, they have not played.
I didn't think so because the hype around that game would be insane. So
ironically, they played today.
Shut the front door.
It's tonight.
And well, I guess it's on. Is it on Big Ten Network?
It's got to be somewhere. It's the biggest. That's got to be the biggest game of the season for the Big Ten.
It's definitely the biggest game of the night, men's or women's.
I want to see this. I may have to block some time out for this tonight. I didn't realize it was tonight. Wow, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. Lauren and Juju.
Right. That's the good thing. One of the good things about ESPN's website is they actually do tell you what channel the games are, even if they're not on their station.
Yeah. That's in very small letters, but yes, they tell you.
Well, now I can't even find this damn thing.
It's gonna be on.
There it is. It's on Peacock.
Yeah.
No, it's on NBC-ish.
Jace. NBC Jace.
At least I'll be able to watch it at work.
Yeah, that'll be good. It'll be good. That's gonna be a good one tonight. I honestly, and if I'm being completely transparent on this one, have no idea who's gonna win, because it could go either way. Because UCLA obviously has a significant inside advantage with Lauren Betts, but USC has a significant advantage. Generational. So this is just going to come down to styles making fights.
Yeah.
So
I don't
know.
Out of foul trouble.
Right. So I did not know this was tonight. Okay, great. But there's another great game being played tonight. And I bring Peacock. Right. So this one, most people may not even see this game. But another game is being played tonight. Florida State, Louisville,
in Tallahassee,
and Tyler is playing. Who is at this point? I would have to say, if there was no Hannah Hidalgo, and even with Hannah Hidalgo, this might be a tighter race than we think. Because Hannah's got a lot of help.
True.
Ty is basically doing this by herself. With all due respect. But she's kind of doing this by herself. And she's got Florida State competitive. I don't know. I've watched them play 3 times now.
Mm-hmm. The game is early.
If she could just get at least one of her teammates to join her on this ride. Consistently.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Consistently. They have a player that is a Juju-esque type player. Because Ty is outstanding. She is outstanding. But
I mean, she's averaging 26 a game.
Bro, if you watch her, she's doing it sometimes
she does have,
she is dog tired.
I mean, she's got help. I mean, Michaela Simpson's averaging 17 and 10.
Yeah, but if you watch it, it's not the same 17 and 10. It's not like Olivia Miles' contribution to Hannah. Olivia Miles has played herself into the top of the draft.
She was already there though. She was coming back from injury.
She's right. Well, listen. Once you coming back from the type of injury that she had, it took her out for an entire year. You never know if you can make it back, and she has made it all the way back. But what I'm saying is, her backcourt mate or her teammate help is not equivalent to Tanaya's. Tanaya's is not that 17 that she gets. Her teammate gets may be there, but it may not be there the way that she needs it there. Like, she needs it to be there as we're building a lead. I need that 17 right there beside me. Whereas it might come 13 in the first half and then nothing in the second half. It's a weird thing. And so I'm curious to know. It's interesting because she's basically the ACC's Cooper Flag.
But they got 4 double-digit scores. Starters.
So then I ask you, why are they struggling?
Let's see. 19 and 5. I mean, that's not that bad.
It's not bad.
5th in the conference.
That's it. It's that.
I mean, 5 losses. I mean.
But I think it's more the defensive side of the ball.
Looking at this, I was going to say, just box score watching, I'd have to say it has to be on the defensive side because they're scoring points.
Yeah. It's the defense, and see, Tanaya is the complete player. She's doing it on both sides of the ball, and maybe that's where the struggle is because it's just not, something is missing to where they can't build momentum. They're not building any momentum. They're winning games, but it's not momentum. And a lot of
when your best player is also a freshman, and there's more parity than it is in the men's side. That's gonna be a big part of it. Yeah. You're gonna have inconsistencies, even with Tanaya, as good as she is. She has spots in the game where
she's junior, dog tired.
Yeah. But they are a young bunch, and so
yeah,
she is so good though.
They are fascinating though. I am very much,
because the thing is, she's averaging 26 points a game, and she's only playing 29 minutes.
That's all she can play. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Shooting 41% from 3.
if she played a minute more, I'm not 100% sure she just wouldn't just pass out on the court. Now I'll say this, and this is not shade. This is just circumstance. For what she needs to do for them to win, she's got to be in better shape for that. Like because she's thicker than she looks. She's a thick girl. And I think that catches up with her as the game. Like that win she got against North Carolina, she gave everything that she possibly could have given in that game, and they got the win. But boy, they had to pull her out of the game a couple of times because she was sucking wind. It was a hard game. But I am so impressed by her because she is for real. Like, she is everything she was advertised to be in high school. So I just need somebody on that team to match her intensity on both sides of the ball so that they can make this interesting.
I think, and I said they were young, but they're not as young as I thought they were. They only have 2 or 3 seniors, but I mean, it's got to be on the defensive end because I admit I have not seen them play very often. I've seen them play here and there,
Yeah.
bits and pieces here and there. But just box score watching,
Yeah.
it's got to be on the defensive side of the ball. And
It
plus,
is.
and it's rebounding because Michaela Timpson averages 10.7 rebounds. The next best rebounder is Malia Williams at 5.7. And then Tanaya at 4.6, and the rest, there's nobody above 3. So, so that rebounding has got to be an issue. They don't turn the ball over too much at 10.6.
No, they're pretty solid
But
in that regard.
they're a pretty
Yeah.
good free throw shooting team and a
Yeah.
3-point shooter. Wow, they shoot as a team. They shoot 36% from 3. That's pretty good. But yeah, defensive side of the ball has got to be what it is.
One team I'm going to have to start paying more attention to is NC State.
They're surprising.
Apparently they're solid. Like they're 11-1 in the conference.
Yeah, they're a surprise team.
Yeah.
They're a surprise team of the conference, I think.
I would say, well, them and Duke. I mean, Duke. Listen, Duke is not the greatest scoring team, but you can't score on them either.
Right. They remind me of St. John's in that way. St. John's men.
Yeah.
Because Martino's team cannot shoot to save their lives, but you can't score on them.
But you can't score on them either. So they feel like we'll score enough to beat you, and it's working. It's working, and that's working for Duke as well. So this has been a fascinating. The women's side has been outstanding and fascinating. I think at this point, the women are probably going to get. Oh gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in, maybe 8. Maybe 8. The ACC women are the SEC men right now, as far as teams is concerned.
Yeah, because Cal's close.
Cal's on that line. Yeah.
Virginia Tech's on that line. It stops there.
Yeah.
So, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
They could get. I think Virginia Tech and Cal would have to do well in the conference tournament to get in.
Yeah.
But I do think from Georgia Tech up, those teams are safe, even though Louisville's not ranked. It's weird because Louisville will get close to getting ranked and then they'll lose a game. It's crazy because you look at the standings, they're in 4th, and 3 teams behind them are all ranked, and Louisville's not.
Yeah, I don't understand sometimes how the AP and the coaches polls work in the sense of you guys clearly aren't watching all the games, and I get it.
Well, in their humble defense, Louisville does that though. They'll get right up there and then they'll lose.
Well, Louisville is not helping themselves because 7 losses is a lot.
Right.
That's a lot.
So I get it. When they did get ranked again, they had ran off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Then they lost to Virginia Tech. They won a couple games in a row, got blown out by Notre Dame. So they've won a couple games again, and they do have a ranked win over California. So their schedule, they play at Florida State tonight, at Duke, and next week, and then at North Carolina. No, they get North Carolina at home.
Now, if they can win those 3, they'll be ranked.
Well, yeah, if they win those 3, they might jump all the way to the top 10.
Right. They win those 3, they'll be right there.
And then they get Clemson at home for senior night, and then they end it in the season at Notre Dame.
Oh, Jesus. Notre Dame, playing Notre Dame these days is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very stressful. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. But we're headed towards a fun February and March, guys. I mean, it's going to be really, 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 really good. Okay. I want to talk about some other stuff because we love to talk about other stuff on this show. I have been struggling to get my brother Kendrick Haskins to buy in to Unrivaled.
I like watching the highlights, but usually when it's on,
other stuff is on. I get it.
Stuff is on.
I get it.
And then I got confused the other night because I looked up and all of a sudden they out there playing 1-on-1. I was like, what is happening?
Well, that's where I was headed. Did you see any of the one-on-one tournament? At all?
I know that Stewie got like shut out or something. And I saw I saw Skylar Diggins lose,
Skylar Diggins eventually lost to Enrique Agumbawale.
which who couldn't have
Which
seen that coming? I love Skylar, but Enrique's,
Enrique's a
especially one on one.
bucket.
Did she win the
Yeah.
whole thing?
No, they're actually so the final four is coming up this next week. Azura, I think is her name. Azura Stevens will take on Neficia Collier. Talk about winning your own tournament. By the way, Neficia Collier is starting to become
I did see her. I did see
massive
her
problem.
game.
Yeah, she's starting to become a massive
She's gonna
problem.
give she's
in
gonna
WWE.
give Asia a run for her money for MVP next season.
Oh man, listen. I don't know how this has happened this fast, but she has found her game, and even more importantly, she has become comfortable in it. Like she knows what she's going to do. She gets to her spot. Her efficiency is ridiculous.
She got comfortable in her size. That's what I think.
And she's comfortable in her side. You know what she reminds me of, efficiency wise? She's very Kevin Durant-ish. Like she's gonna get to her spot. She's gonna score. She's gonna do what she does, and it's really impressive. And so on the other side is Aaliyah Edwards, who is amazing, and she's gonna take on Enrique Agumbawale. So that's the final four.
If I were a betting man, I would go Enrique Agumbawale against Neficia, and then Neficia will win because of her size.
I think so too. I think that's where we're headed. But it's been fun. Listen, I love that the women don't have to go overseas anymore. That they can make.
I love that
money.
part, and I'm not down in the league. I just haven't
No,
watched.
you're
Like I
not
said,
down.
but
You have not.
But
down.
why are we playing 1-on-1 all of a sudden though? Because it wasn't 3-on-3 full court. Now it's 1-on-1 half court. What happened?
I think they're trying to give you options. I don't know. I honestly don't know why they're doing it. I don't. I don't have a solid reasoning.
I'm honest with it. I hadn't been keeping up with it, and I'm sitting there watching Sports Center the other night, and all of a sudden I'm seeing them play 1-on-1. I was like, "Is this All-Star break for that?" No,
Maybe
they're just playing 1-on-1.
And then here's the other part. That's some work. They got some work to do to fix it, honestly. Because right now they're also top heavy. Like the Lunar Owls, which I think is the team that Neficia plays on. They are 8-0 in the league.
And they're also playing in a bubble voluntarily.
Yeah. In Miami, though. Like, if you go play in a bubble,
yeah.
it's not a bad place to play. Yeah, so Neficia's team, which is the Lunar Owls, consists of Cameron Brink, Alicia Gray, Courtney Williams, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Shakira Austin, and Neficia.
Cameron Brink's playing?
Yeah, she's back. She's back. She's out there. That feels a little top heavy.
Yeah, that team seems a little loaded.
Because the other teams are the closest team to them is the Laces, and the Laces have Tiffany Hayes, Jackie Young, Kayla McBride, Kate Martin, Stephanie Dolson, and Elisa Thomas.
Who's on Angel Reese's team?
Okay, Angel is on. I think she's on the Rose, either the Rose or the Vinyl. Yeah, Angel's on the Rose. That's Brittany Skies, Azura Stevens, Kalia Copper, Angel Reese, Lexi Hall, and Chelsea Gray. Not a bad team.
That's a pretty good team,
but not. But they're not. They're third. They're like 3 and 4 or something.
I'm offering up a criticism that we would offer up a male player, so I'm gonna offer it up to a female player. Angel Reese, you got to finish around the basket. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, if this was a male player, we'd be all over. So
and I think it's all fatigue based.
She does it early in the game too. She's got to finish around the basket better. I mean, yeah, she's getting a bunch of rebounds, but she's rebounding her own misses. You gotta get stronger around the basket. I mean, that's when you look at what's the difference between her and Neficia and Asia. They finish around the basket.
They finish. Finishing matters. And then let's see. Enrique's team is Ryan Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Ray Burrell, Jordan Canada, and De'Erica Hamby.
How fun is Atlanta going to be with Brittany Griner and Ryan Howard?
They should be competitive.
Good luck getting inside on them two.
They should be. That team should be very much more competitive than they've been in a lot since Angel McCautry left.
Yeah,
Like they should be back to some level of competition. It should. It
because
should look a lot different.
I'm such a Ryan Howard fan, just from when covering her when she was at Kentucky, and
Yeah.
when I've interviewed her, and she's just a sweet person, just a nice person. And then you get on the court, and you talk about Kevin Durant type game. Ryan Howard has a lot of Kevin Durant in her.
We got a lot of Kevin Durant, and she's long. Yeah.
Yeah,
6'2",
she's long. She gets to her spots. I mean, she can shoot the three. And she's a heck of a player, and I'm glad she's got somebody alongside her. I don't know what their guard situation is, but
Well, I mean, they got Jordan Canada, they got Alicia Gray, they got some solid. They got a team now.
I'd like to see
gonna
them
be a
make a
much
run
tougher-
because Atlanta.
Well-
Because I'd like to see them make. Atlanta has supported that team,
100%.
considering
100%.
the struggles that they've had, and so
Yeah.
I'd like to see them get it turned around because I think adding another superstar in Brittany Griner is going to be huge for them.
100%. They're gonna be a lot better than they've been in the past. Okay, so that's it. As far I just wanted to bring up Unrivaled just because I need my brother to just take a peek at him. Just peek over there. I
Obviously,
know the NBA is going on. And see, this is a perfect week to do it because the NBA probably won't start till next Thursday because the All-Star break. So
they've got to capitalize on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Exactly.
Because this weekend, the men's games that are happening this weekend, I'm not watching hardly anything. You got Auburn and Alabama on Saturday.
That'll be interesting.
Yes. U of L and Notre Dame play at 8:00 on Sunday. Who schedules games at 8:00 on Sunday?
8:00 in the evening?
Yes. Well, they're not gonna play in the morning. 8:00.
I don't put nothing past the U of L.
That's the ACC scheduling at 8:00.
I don't put nothing past
Sunday
the ACC.
Night. 8:00 at night on a Sunday.
I don't put nothing past the ACC.
The Big Ten and the ACC do some weird scheduling.
You said that like it was not a possibility at all. That's like
Big Ten has UCLA and Indiana playing on Valentine's Day.
on Peacock. I'm just saying.
What are you doing?
The Big Ten has their arguably their best game of the year on a streaming platform that is barely used by anybody. By the way,
Big Ten has always done weird scheduling. The ACC has to. Remember the ACC big night used to be Sunday night at 6:00.
it used to be Sunday night, 6:00.
By
the way, speaking of Peacock, this is way off the subject. Have you ever seen the show The Traitors? Or as we like to call it in our house, The Traitors.
I've seen the promos for it, but I haven't watched it.
Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah?
Phenomenal. So here's what's interesting about me. This is my weird guilty pleasure. Everybody has a guilty pleasure. This is mine. Or it has become mine. I like psychological and sociological experimentative reality competition shows. I love it. I think it's fun to see how people think and how they arrive at certain thought processes, how people will lie and their willingness to lie.
I kind of like that type of stuff too.
I don't know why, but I'm fascinated by these type of things.
And it's an easy watch. How long are the episodes?
They're about an hour, but
okay.
But it's a fun hour. Like you're not going to be bored. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a fun hour. So I would say cut your teeth with season 1. Allow it to wash over you, and then jump into season 2. And by the way, Traders UK, every bit as good. There's like 4 different traders. UK, New Zealand, Australia. They're all good. Australia might be the best. They definitely have one of the best endings I've ever seen in a reality show. Won't spoil it for you, but it's fantastic. The finale, one of the most gangster finales I've ever seen. So I got all obsessed this summer because in the summer there's nothing to watch. So you watch whatever's out there. But the new season is going on now, and it's really good. It's really.
I'll
good.
check it out because what my guilty pleasures, and I'm not going to overhype it, but it is a guilty pleasure. It's Stupid, The Circle on Netflix.
I've tried The Circle. Do you? I've tried to watch it, and I watched one season, and I liked it, but it was I could not get the logic of the players. Like, it just, some of the things that they were doing, I'm going, this makes no sense. Why are you doing this?
This last season, there's an episode where this dude makes the dumbest decision. Yeah. And it's like, of course, we know what's going on, so we have a better idea of what the decision should be than them. However, the right decision was so easy to see without knowing everything else going on, and he made the wrong decision. But it's easy TV. I think the episodes are they're like 30, 45 minutes. Yeah. So it's easy, stupid TV, popcorn TV.
And that's one of the reasons why I watch it, because I knew with all the things that I have going on, I need places of escape. Mm-hmm. And so reality competition TV has become, and it's become a bonding place for my daughters and I. We both like it. They love it. They love the trailers. They are as equally as obsessed with it. I
have to check it. I'll tell you another good show that's a scripted show, and it's easy. Like I said, it's 8 episodes of like 20, 30 minutes. Bookie on HBO.
Oh, I'm all in. All in.
It's so funny.
I have
everything out there is terrible.
binge watched season 1, and I think they just wrapped up season 2. Bookie is phenomenal.
It's so funny. It is.
Shout out to Sebastian Maniscalco, and I can't forget. It's so bad because I can't remember the black guy's name, but they are fantastic together.
It's so fun. Yeah, their chemistry is off the chain. The Charlie Sheen cameos every time Charlie Sheen is on the camera is so funny.
See, now I can't do the black man like that. That's not cool. I know Sebastian Maniscalco, but I don't know the other guy's name.
The very first episode when Charlie, like 3 characters from 2.5 Men are on there, because I love 2.5 Men. If I'm I'm sitting at home around 6, 7 o'clock at night, I'm watching 2.5 Men.
Yeah, Omar Dorsey is the guy's name. I apologize, Omar.
He's so good.
It's just my bad. I love you, brother. You're a phenomenal actor.
You doing better than me, because the only person whose name I could actually name on the show is Charlie Sheen. Nobody else on there is a big time actor, which is what I love about it. It's not a name driven show. And the reason I even heard of it is because the other dude, what you say his name was? Not
Omar Dorsey.
Not Omar.
Sebastian Maniscalco. Yeah.
He came on Levitar one day, and so I was like, all right, I'll check this show out, and I'm glad I did. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. Bookie is fantastic. It is a great, great, great show. So I have my little guilty pleasures and pods of escapism, and that's one of my like another bonding show that I watch with my daughter which matter of fact, ironically, the new season starts tomorrow on Valentine's Day. Is Love Is Blind. We love Love Is Blind.
See, I can't do that.
I didn't think I could do. See, let me tell you something. I didn't think I would be able to do it either when it initially was introduced to me. I'm like, I'm not gonna like this. I don't like stuff like this. I was wrong, and I'm mainly wrong because again, it has nothing to do with the romance stuff. That actually takes a back seat to the psychological and sociological part of it, because there's real consequences in this that have to be dealt with, which makes it entertaining. Because like, it's the real stuff that you would think about this being like, okay, how are these people's parents gonna deal with this? How are they going to meld their lives together in a real way? Those real things, and some of it. Listen, as the seasons have gone on, yes, it has gotten obviously very reality show in some aspects. But then every season there's also some real couple stuff that makes you go, oh damn, this is like really happening. This is they're really having a moment here. This is not good. So it does offer some good stuff to it. And again, listen, when you're a girl dad, you're always looking for moments
Right.
to
Yeah.
find a bond place. So
Oh,
this
trust
is our
me.
bond place.
Thankfully, that the one I'm with she doesn't really do reality. But
My wife and I don't watch any of that stuff.
my coworker Dusty, I always find points to make fun of him, and so he watches The Bachelor.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that,
No, I'm not doing that.
and he gets excited for it. I'm like,
No.
what is wrong with you? He
Yeah,
did that
you are.
before he was with his woman. I'm like, so you was
He willingly
you was doing this
chose
as a
this
single man.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
He chose
You
this
doing-
lifestyle. No,
yeah,
I'm not
I
doing
get that. Some guys watch that show just to impress girls, but no, he made a conscious decision to do this on his own.
it. He's sitting in a house. He's sitting in a house with a snuggie and a blanket, watching The Bachelor. No,
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
no,
We're
that's not
absolutely
happening.
not doing that.
That's not happening over here.
I'm not doing that. I'm not loving hip hopping it. I'm not
None of that
real
stuff.
housewiving it. I'm
No.
not doing any of that. I have
Every time
no
I
interest
see-
in any of that.
A commercial for Love and Hip Hop. For one, I'm like, we just got set back another 15 years, and then I'm like, who is watching this? Why is this show still on? Who is watching this? I don't know anybody that watches it.
I don't either. And thankfully, I don't have any friends that I have that watch it on a regular basis. I don't know anyone that watches it, and I'm grateful for that because
Yeah.
it means I'm doing something right in life.
And like I see the promos for it, and everybody just got fake everything. And it's like,
Yeah, I can't
and,
do
it's,
it.
and you can tell the fights are totally contrived. Nobody's sitting there. Nobody fights in public everywhere they go.
Where are all these restaurants where you're allowed to stay in the restaurant after you throw a drink in somebody's face? Like, where are these restaurants at in America? I've never heard of these places.
It's so stupid.
And the food can't be that good. Speaking of, are you Valentine's ready, sir?
Oh yeah, we easy around here. It's just heart-shaped pizza and chill.
Heart-shaped pizza. That sounds traditional. Like,
Yeah, beer nose here. I just
no, I'm
shouted
saying,
it out.
like, it sounds like you guys.
That's our tradition.
I was gonna say, is that the tradition?
Yeah, I get a heart-shaped pizza and beer nose, and we chill out. We're easy over here.
I like it. We're easy over here too. One thing about it, Valentine's Day, from the start of our marriage, we were doing so much individual stuff for each other all year long, that Valentine's Day was useless. Like, it added nothing.
Right.
If you do it right, Valentine's Day should mean nothing to you.
Right.
It's a makeup day for most guys who are screwing it up. That's what Valentine's Day is. But ironically, I bring that up because for those who need it, they just did a top best restaurants in America. You see that? USA Today. They just did the top restaurants in America. And so it's a fascinating list. I was trying to see if your spot was on here.
Jeff
That you were
Ruby's.
telling me about. No. The barbecue place you were telling me about. So they got Lanny's Barbecue.
I haven't been there.
Is that okay? Okay.
You talking about in Alabama, it's in Birmingham, Dreamland.
It's in Birmingham. Okay, that's
Dreamland.
I didn't know if they made it, but these are some of the ones that made it. So if you guys are interested, if you're looking for a place, you probably can't get in if these places are this popular. Bodie's, have you been to Bodie's in Indianapolis? You've been to Indianapolis quite a bit.
No, really. Only places I've really been up there is my boy Terry Anthony's place, the Block, right downtown in the square, or in the circle or whatever. The Block Bistro, the Block.
Okay.
Go up there. That's my homeboy. McCormick and Schmick's, but that's a chain.
Gotcha.
So I really haven't been to many places in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is kind of Decade.
Made it. Is it Decade?
I ain't never heard of
is
it.
it
That's in
actually-
Louisville. I ain't never heard of it.
Decade. It can't be Decade. It's
You're
got
not
to be
gonna.
Decade.
Why would you name your restaurant Decade?
Why would you make it Decade? Like
Because
that,
that's for one, that's how you say the word. Two,
that is how you say the word. But I'm thinking,
you think of
there's no
decay.
way.
You think of decaying food. You think of decaying corpses.
No, that's a good point. I think it's a bad name either way.
I've never even
Either
heard of it.
pronunciation. Decade is not great either, but it's obviously the food's pretty good. They made the list.
It made the list. I've never even heard of it. And I live here.
Never heard of it, and you're right there. You're probably right around the corner from it. You just don't even. Let's
I don't
see.
really
Is
go
anybody
outside
else?
no more either.
I don't either. I'm so homebody. We were having a discussion about that the other day, about how many times I leave the house to go to a movie theater. I don't leave the house
Bruh,
ever.
since COVID, I think we've been to the movie theater once.
I think.
We went
Well,
and saw
I'm not far
we saw
behind
the-
you. Maybe
We saw the Bob Marley movie, and that's it.
I was gonna say I'm not far behind you. Maybe I've been 5 times in 5 years. Maybe. It's not a lot.
That might be more than me, because even before that, we went. From part of it too is like there hasn't been a movie that I want to go to the theater to see anyway.
That's
Movies have been
it.
so bad.
That's it. It's not. Well, and then not only that, they get to the streaming platform so fast now.
Right? Yeah. And
Like
movies,
we
it
have
costs $100 to go to the movie. I can just sit
And
there
then-
and wait a couple of months, and it'll be on streaming anyway.
I can't. I gotta choose between eggs and movies. It's gonna be eggs. I gotta keep these people in eggs. They need eggs here. They don't need movies. So
Right.
I don't know.
It'll be streaming anytime.
well, to your point, we're gonna watch sometime this weekend. We're gonna watch One of Them Days. The Keke
yes.
Palmer thing.
Yeah.
That just came out 3 weeks ago. It's
And it's
already
already-
on streaming service.
That shit's went straight to streaming anyway.
I've got
That's
Both
that's
things-
see, you know what that is? You know what that is right there? Living in a house with a bunch of women. Ain't no way in the world you'd watch that movie on your own.
full disclosure. It was my idea.
That's
It was
'cause
my
you live
idea.
in-
But
You know why?
but it is.
'cause you-
but
you-
but
you've
but
been living
also
in a house full of women.
I was gonna say. But also you're probably right. You're probably right. You're probably right. You're probably right. you're probably correct in that as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see. It's just hard to get me out of the house. I haven't seen like this, and I bring that up anyway because of the Captain America thing going on this weekend. I actually another friend of mine.
What an odd movie to release on Valentine's Day.
I know that seems very like a fail for Marvel, and Marvel doesn't usually get this wrong, but this feels
Marvel
very
usually
wrong.
releases movies like this in the summer anyway. You usually release your blockbusters in the summer, not in February.
Right,
So,
and it's
I don't
especially
know
not
what's going on.
February 14th.
I ain't right. I mean, I guess they wanted to release it in February for Black History Month since it is a Black Captain America. But Valentine's Day is very strange.
Well, it's interesting because the visceral reaction to this movie has not been the same as it would be for, say, like Black Panther. I don't think people see, and by people I mean the black people,
The
they
Black
don't
congregation.
view the black congregation, the black delegation. They don't see Anthony Mackie the same way they see Chadwick Boseman for some reason. It's weird.
I don't think they really know who Anthony Mackie is, and it's not a
That's
knock
my
on
point.
Anthony Mackie. It's not
That's
a
my point.
knock on him because he's been great in everything he's been in for years.
I'm a huge Anthony Mackie fan.
Yeah,
I think
he's a great
all the way
actor.
back to the Hurt Locker. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I don't think part of it too is like Black Panther when it came out, it was basically its own vehicle. Whereas him being Captain America, that's been a build up in the Marvel universe that has been, quite frankly, has been hit or miss lately, and has been kind of hit or miss within the Black community. I don't think as many people have paid attention to the evolution of how he got there. The storyline of how they got him there is super interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
But And the fact that they took that turn is very innovative, very new, and all of
Yeah.
that. But like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, though, the Marvel movies have fallen off drastically.
Well, well,
Because it felt like they were going in one direction, and then they didn't. Like the whole time, I thought they was building up to the Civil War that happened in the comic books back when we were kids, and
right.
that never developed. And I was like,
Well,
that was a pretty massive event in comic book lore.
It was.
And it all seemed like it was building to that, and then it just. I think a lot of it had to do with licensing. Marvel couldn't get X-Men, Spider-Man. Who still knows if they have Marvel, if Marvel has Spider-Man or not? Because they got some of the movies, but not all of the movies.
Right.
So getting it all under one umbrella has been an issue. But yeah, the movies have been so disjointed that I think people are just going to like, oh, okay.
Well, couple that with also,
and the Hulk.
They got into this They got into. What'd you say?
And the Hulk is all of a sudden red.
That's weird as well. Couple that with the fact that they got into this multiverse thing too, and that cul-de-sac has been somewhat confusing. If I'm being honest,
super confusing.
Like when you watch it from different places, there seems to be a weird inconsistency with it in the explanations and the reasoning behind what's happening. That's not connecting like it did in the first phase.
Mm-hmm.
The first phase, you saw the breadcrumbs. Yes. It was easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
This has not been easy to follow. It's been very convoluted, and now it just seems like lost. Like no one has any idea where this is going. So,
and they introduced too many characters like Ant-Man.
Yeah.
We didn't need Ant-Man.
I didn't ask for that.
And Deadpool was funny. The first one, the second and third one were but even the one with Wolverine, and that didn't make sense because Wolverine's supposed to be dead. Now all of a sudden he's back.
Nobody dies in Marvel.
And like Deadpool was not a major Marvel character. It's like they started going into the storylines of the ancillary characters from back then. It's like, why are we doing this?
Because they don't. I just think they've lost their way a little bit.
Like, and a lot of it was licensing because they couldn't put their full energy behind X-Men and Spider-Man because of business reasons. And so and through it all, as bad as they are, they're still better than every DC movie. Even though I will say the Penguin knocks it out of the park.
You know what? I've heard that, and I have not started it yet. I probably will at some point.
It's phenomenal. I'm like four episodes in, I think. It's phenomenal.
Shout out to Colin Farrell.
He is unbelievable in that role. It's so good. It's so good.
All right. Well, listen, I don't know how we got here, but I enjoyed it.
I don't think we've talked about a sport in like 30 minutes. Welcome to mine and Lloyd's conversations.
Listen, one thing about us, you're getting authentic us right now. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We have conversations, and it's a lot of fun. So there you go. All right. I guess we should probably give a shout out at some point.
Yeah,
we should do that now.
My shout out
to Charlie.
Of course, shout out to Charlie. Always shout out.
And you know what? Because he's at a board meeting, and that's why
that's the guy's honest truth that Charlie's at a board meeting.
But also,
and that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
That's what happens, Charlie, when you don't show up. And though you have a valid reason for not showing up.
And he's going to be at the game tonight.
He will be at the game tonight. So there you go.
Gotta text Jada and tell her Charlie's going to be there. But my shout out goes to U of L's engineering class, or not class, or whatever you call it, engineering department. They designed the mask for James Scott that he wore.
Nice.
Yes, the U of L School of Engineering. Kelsey talks about it in the press conference last night, and I'm gonna run something on it today on the news. They went to them, and it's like, hey, can y'all come up with something? And they was like, yes, bam, took it and ran with it. And my man looked like Hannibal Lecter / Bane, But the man was out there playing hooping last night, and so shout out to the U of L School of Engineering for coming up with that mask last night.
You know what? We don't normally do this for positive reasons, but low key.
And that was a humble flex.
For what?
Not for you, for them.
Oh.
That's gangster, bro. Somebody come say design this, and they're like, psh, easy work.
I mean,
That's pretty impressive.
I mean, he got his teeth knocked out on Saturday, and they had a mask for him ready to go for a road game on Wednesday, which means they'd have to leave on Tuesday.
That's a humble flex. If ever there was a humble flex, that's like the definition of a humble flex right there.
Hey, Louisville, U of L School of Engineering is a very good school, and so
that story needs to be national. That needs to be national. We all need to know that Louisville should be putting that out on a regular basis because that is a flex.
Yeah,
that is a flex, bro. Real talk. Like, golly. Okay, all right.
And then
all
one more shout out to Debbie Antonelli,
like
who is the analyst for ESPN, because I think this was the third or fourth game she's called for U of L. Her son is a walk-on for U of L. So it's always cool whenever he gets in the game and she's calling the game. And and she comes to Louisville games when she's not working. I've seen her a bunch of times around the Yum Center. And so it's always a cool story when he comes in. Apparently she graduated from NC State. She played ball at NC State. But her son grew up a U of L fan. And so I think he was with Kelsey at Charleston and had the chance to come to Louisville and jumped at it. And so he's living out his dream playing for the school that he wanted to play for, and his mom gets to witness it all. So that's an awesome story. So shout out.
That is very, very cool. That is very, very cool. I don't even know if I should give my shout out after such a heartwarming shout out. My shout out is far from heartwarming. It's a reflection of pettiness.
I know it is.
I don't know if you do. Well, you might.
I know.
I want to give a shout. I want to give a shout out to your Dallas Cowboys and my New York Giants.
For what? Years of incompetency?
No. Quite the opposite, actually. No, quite the opposite, actually. We are directly responsible for this year's Super Bowl win.
Oh yeah, true that. Again, which goes back to what I said: incompetency.
Well, you can see. Listen, glass half empty, glass half full. It's your choice. It's your choice. But I choose to see it as a positive.
No.
We gave the Eagles the running game that they needed. You gave them the coordinator that they needed.
And the defensive front, because they could have had two of their defensive guys they let slide.
100%. So, Eagles fans, while you're out here flexing, you're welcome. So there you go. Just want to give that shout out.
I'm not celebrating the incompetency of the team that I root for.
I gotta celebrate something, Kendrick. It's rough right now. I'm trying to find the silver linings wherever they may be.
I'm so done with all the stupid stuff that they do.
And by the way, shout out to the awkward moment of the year so far, in that the trade was rescinded.
That's as awkward as it gets
for the Lakers. And Dalton Connect had to come back to the Lakers.
I didn't realize he had gone through a layup line with the Hornets before a game when that happened.
He was in Detroit.
Yes, in uniform.
About to play. And they said, could you come in? Come here for a second. Just for a second.
How does that work?
Take that uniform off and fly back to LA tonight. The trade has been rescinded. How about that for an airplane ride?
I don't know how you come back from that. I'll
come back.
You
come back. You don't have a choice. What's he supposed to do, Kendrick?
I mean, hell, they're not letting. He's not playing now. And they got smacked by Utah last night.
That was crazy. But eventually they're gonna have to play him. He's gonna have to be in the rotation.
They're gonna have to play him. What are they gonna get out of him? Can you blame him if he ain't giving it 100?
Yes, because you're a rookie and you can play yourself out of the league. You got to play. You don't have a choice.
That dude's played well enough. He ain't getting played out of the league.
He might.
No.
He might. Mm-mm. I don't know, Kendrick. I think he's got to play. He's going to play and play well.
Look.
You're talking like he's built up the cachet to do whatever he wants to do. I don't think that's true.
But he's built up. He's built up the cachet, and he's built up enough sympathy for the situation that people are like, this is a good
Yeah, but
player.
how long will that last though?
Lloyd, there's a lot of bad teams in the NBA. Especially in the
That's also true. That's also true. There are a lot of bad teams. Goodness gracious, there's a lot of bad teams in the NBA.
in the Eastern Conference. I mean,
Yeah, I think what he's actually hoping for.
take the Miami Heat wouldn't take Connect right now.
Oh, absolutely. Miami Heat would take anything. I think they're thinking about asking Zoe to come out of retirement.
I mean, they were up by like 20 last night on the Thunder and lost by 15.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But shout out to Jimmy Butler because he got what he wanted. Literally got everything he wanted.
Well, somewhat. He got out of Miami. He wanted to go to Phoenix for some odd reason.
Well, but he dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
On that Phoenix thing. Sometimes God got to step in and block your stuff.
Yeah.
God was like, "You fool! You don't need to go to Phoenix. You're an idiot."
Yeah.
That would have been a disaster. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I just wanted to give some petty shout outs this morning. I just felt, compelled, if you will. So there you go. Listen, we'll do it all over again next week. Charlie will be here, or hopefully he will be here. I don't know.
Hopefully there's not another board meeting.
He may flex out on us again. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But go watch this podcast, like and subscribe. Watch Press and Pros. I promise you, it's believe it or not, it's different and the same. It's everything you love about us and then some. So watch it.
We're just talking NBA instead of ACC.
It's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time. So there you go. Yeah, we'll do it all over again next week and have some fun. So believe in ACC. We'll see you guys next week.